spiritual minded, you must find it. Find your spirit and go deep inside it. This goes out to the Christians listening. This is the flow that gospel's missing it. I'ma give you great music and great ministry.
Spiritual minded.
That's a brand name. Like Pepsi, that's a brand name. I stand behind it. I guarantee it. They know that, even if they don't know me any more than they know the chairman of General Mills.
I'ma give you great music and great ministry.
AJ Rock, let's get him.
Honestly, the older I get, the old church resonates with me a lot more than any of the new church. Because the old church always had Bible study. I mean, there was just all of these particular things that they had. Yes, there are a few churches that still do it. But, you know, there's a goobarb of them that's just in and out right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you got your hour hit on Sunday and then you out. You know what I mean? And I think that...
Well, see, it's funny because that's it's like, I was explaining on the show one day, and I was trying to put it in layman terms. Like your car. You put X amount of dollars in your car, the gas to get to work all week. Now, you know, you got other things, PTA and all that other stuff. So somewhere in the middle of the week, your car like running a little low, and you need to put some more gas in that car. That's Bible study. You understand? Like Sunday service was the first, and you know what I'm saying? That's Bible study. And then, you know, sometimes there's Sunday school just before, you know, those things are necessary.
It's spiritual exercise.
Right.
I always say spiritual exercise. Anybody that's a bodybuilder understands that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's no way in the world to say I'm gonna work out once and get exactly the results that you want to have. You know what I'm saying? And it's spiritual exercise. The ill part about it is that I don't like this word because of the connotations of it. I use it for laymen. So you'll only hear me use the word magic in one instance. And I always tell people, the word of God is magic. Maybe I'm being blasphemous by saying that, but I know what I'm saying.
Right.
What I'm saying is, my pastor in New York, Dan Stratton, taught me, that's where I got that red letter exercise from. Say, just read it. There's a lot of times he used to say, I don't want y'all to study. I don't want y'all to try to decipher nothing. I don't want y'all to come back up on it. The only time I even want you to back up on the words is if you think you read something wrong. But just read it and go to bed. And watch what happens. Just read it and go to work. Don't try to rationalize it. Don't try to put no commentary on it. He said, he always told us, the words are anointed, the numbers are not. I actually found him a Bible. It took me in Strand in New York. I found him a Bible with no numbers. You know what I mean? I'm not saying don't study, don't whatever. But the bottom line is that we don't have enough of that in us. And when I say we, I'm just talking about those of us behind the veil. We got a lot of other stuff in us. You understand what I'm trying to say? But we don't have enough of that in us.
I want to use that to segue into the conversation we were having about Christian rappers right now. You can't go out, you can't share your faith if you don't know. You know what I'm saying? You have to know, you have to have it in you before you can pour it out into others.
Need to think about, if Joshua was a rapper, what would he do? If Peter was a rapper, what would he do?
Paul.
If Paul was a rapper, if Paul was a rapper, the rap game would be a rap. You know that.
Right.
Because this dude is a take no prisoner dude. You understand what I'm trying to say?
No,
but I mean, but that's the. I think they should aspire to be.
Right.
Paul was a rapper. That's a hard goal.
Right.
But what you know.
That's one of the first people that I pulled to. I don't know why.
Being a New Yorker, you're gonna be that way. Most Easterners are gonna be that way because we grew up on Elijah Muhammad, Minister Farrakhan, Malachi York, any group of those guys. So you're gonna always be attracted to Paul because Paul is them. Right. You know what I'm saying? He's them before because they are Saul. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He's them before the conversion. And then again, same concept. God moved past in his mind. He's go through this whole experience on the road to Damascus, and then God gives him his mind back. And now he's able to give us all of these incredible epistles and letters that we have. You know what I mean? But again, you know, getting back to your point and what we were talking about, it's about following ministry.
Right.
I mean, that's the bottom line at the end of the day. It's like, what better source could you ever have?
Right.
You know what I mean? Than ministry. And I talked about your group and I talked about my group and how we had some cool stuff to talk about.
Right.
You know what I'm
right.
saying? I mean, you had your neighborhood to talk about, you had your girls to talk about, you know, you had your, you know, records, your mom's in my business, you had mothers to talk about, you know, LL talking about the round the way girl. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but this plethora of information that we have in these 66 books is way richer.
Yes.
I want to hear a gospel rap song about what it's like to be down in the bottom of that well.
I don't know what artist did it, but he did the Christ died, that whole but he did it as if it was today. You know what I'm saying? He was telling the story about if it was today, and it was I was loving that.
It's Corey Redden, Precise, Resistance is Futile.
Okay, I got that.
Okay,
Yeah.
Because it's the embodiment of I know what I'm talking about. You understand what I'm trying to say? And I think that should be who we are. I think if we do that, then we don't have to worry about people calling it fake rap and all of that kind of stuff. I do think that the skill set should be up to par.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
I'm with you on that.
Ain't no way in the world that somebody's gonna come do music ministry in my church if they ain't good.
Right.
So you need to have your chops up.
Right.
But I think that in addition to that, or right alongside of that, is that you've got to be able to represent ministry. You know, and I say to these rappers all the time, just get it from your pastor.
Right.
You know, that's where your album should be being born.
Right.
I mean, I don't know what kind of church you go to, but if your pastor got an office, that's where your album should be being born at.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You should be sitting down saying, yo, Doc, what I need to rap about? You know, what God telling you?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know, what is he telling you? Because it's going to come out the same way his sermons is going to come out.
Right.
You're going to have some things that's going to be definite.
Right.
He going to tell you something, you're going to leave, and he going to give you a call saying, hold the presses, he just told me something else. I mean, how many times
Right.
I'm sure your pastor did it, my pastor did it a million times. I came up here to talk about something, and the Holy Spirit told me I need to tell you all this. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, these guys, I'm a big fan of pastors. These guys are connected. You know, I'm not saying that we're not. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to us.
Right.
These guys are connected pretty much 24 hours of the day. I mean, it's their job.
Right.
It's not my job.
Right.
Now, I pray for my friends and I pray with my friends, but it's not my job like that.
Right.
It's my pastor's job.
Right.
So, you know, get with your pastor.
And real talk, we should be aspiring to be connected 24. There shouldn't be. We should be. And then as men, it's another whole story.
Right.
We have to be connected for the vision and everything to come through the household. Like, I mean, because it's coming through us. So
I just feel, I feel like it's that. I think it's this isolated. A lot of times, God, and I see it expanding through properties like yours and through properties like the South, that the vacuum is opening up. So, but to some people, it still appears to be a vacuum. Like, I like what you telling me about the spiritual minded sight and how you'll play a LL Mary, or you know, something else, because the bottom line, you know, probably Lauren is in that group.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that, because.
Well, we play Lauren, we play India Ari, we
because
play.
we have to open up that vacuum.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because when it's seen in that vacuum, it's not good to any of us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's not good to any of us, and I think that opening up that vacuum is getting a lot closer to the church than away from it. I think that's the trick.
Right.
The trick there is, you know, you gospel rapper, you looking at it like, oh, I need to move away from the church because, you know, the church is about these four walls and I'm about outside of these four walls. And my thing is, as a gospel rapper, you need to be running back in the church. You know what I'm saying? And probably writing your album in the pews when ain't nobody there. You understand what I'm trying to say? Because that's when it's gonna come out right. You know what I'm saying? And you're gonna know what, you know. I finished with this. We was on the radio. We talking about Tim Tebow, and some of the co-hosts was saying, well, you know, other people are kind of the same way, and I disagree with them to say this. The difference between Tim Tebow and every other person is that he's clear that he does it for him.
Right.
And so that's my plea to gospel rappers. Are you clear that you're doing it for him?
Right.
Because more than likely, and I've experienced this with Hasib and what happens after the cross, more than likely, if you are doing it for him, he's going to write your record.
Right.
When Hasib wrote this first record, this first album we put out, Psalm 151, I can't even tell you the amount of times, but I think the most prevalent one was his cousin. His cousin had just came home from up north, looked at Sib and said, Sib, I love you, man. There ain't no way in the world you wrote this record, man.
Wow.
And Sib said, I did. Because I'm just not that good.
I find that with my book that I wrote and, you know, things that I'm writing. I have an idea of what I want. And then all of a sudden, even the focus for this magazine,
Right.
it's starting to get into some, it's almost scary, like, because it's going in places.
It's that Isaiah 58 thing about your thoughts not being my thoughts.
Right.
It's a bunch of stuff. It's the psalmist saying, lean not on your own understanding.
Right.
I mean, there's a ton of scriptures that support what you're talking about.
Right.
And the bottom line is that at the end of the day, Jay-Z probably should be writing his own records. God should be writing our records.
And as one rapper said, and I say this in close, the difference between hip-hop and, I guess, Christian hip-hop, holy hip-hop, gospel rap, whatever you call it. One, for a majority of it, tears down, and one, supposedly for the majority, builds up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's supposed to be the difference.
Record, they need to get accustomed to the tribes. You know, it's a very Jesus-y thing.
Right.
You understand what I'm trying to say? When Yeshua says, "I come for Israel,"
Right.
that don't change.
Right.
Even at the end of the book, it don't change.
Right.
You read Revelation 7, he's still coming for the 12 tribes first.
Right.
You understand? They, at this particular point, at least according to what we know through theology, they have now accepted him as the Messiah.
Right.
Where you don't get that from the majority of the Hasidic population now.
Right.
And so, you know, our scripture tells us that at some particular point, they begin to start coming in as drones. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole nother thing to think about.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because when they start coming, they gonna be real serious about it.
Right.
They're not gonna be playing with it.
Right.
They're not gonna play church. They're not gonna do.
Right.
They come in with their tallits and everything else because they're not gonna leave their Jewishness. They're just gonna accept the Messiah.
Right.
You know what I mean? But the concept of him coming for his own first is a business model for gospel rap.
Right.
Then you stretch out.
Right.
But the first thing you need to do is the same thing that he did.
Well, that's
in
what Peter told Paul. He said the Jews first, then the Gentiles.
It's the same thing with us, man.
Yeah.
Same thing. So, I mean, that concept of even looking at Jay's audience now or Kanye's audience right now.
But you can't go. Here's the best thing I can say. Record companies, when people used to have deals, the record company wanted to know how much noise you was making in your own neighborhood.
Right.
Why should I sign you, and nobody don't even know you in your own neighborhood?
Exactly.
How can you go after Jay's audience and your people don't even know you?
I think that the real model that I love, and I mentioned this to you earlier, is that International House of Prayer movement.
Right.
With Rick Pino and Jason Upton. That's we don't even have to create another model. We just need to go hang out with those kids.
No doubt.
Because all those are young kids that are, following these artists that are in this prophetic movement. And they found their tribe.
Right.
Maybe they do own some Michael W. Smith records. Maybe they do own some Martha Manuzzi records, but that's not what they're playing.
Right,
they
right.
know those songs.
Right.
They're listening to Upton. They're listening to Pino. They're listening to their tribe.
Right.
And there's enough of them.
Right.
And I just believe that there can be seas of people, not old school, holy hip hop, backpacking crew, but seas of people that will accept this. But we got to follow ministry first.
Right.
You know what I mean? And ultimately, we'll be part of the praise and worship team and all of those particular things. But it's up to us to step it up in order for that to happen.
In closing, I want to give you a chance to let everybody know how they can get in touch with you, reach you, Twitter, whatever.
I would just give my Twitter. I do social media for a living, so I always say Twitter is the megaphone. Okay. And so anything that I announce, anything that I'm about, I can be found on Twitter. Okay. And that's just at Professor Daddy or one word. Okay. You follow me, you usually know what I'm doing. I do a lot of check-ins and stuff, so that kind of lets you know where I'm going. A little later on, we're gonna get the web presence right. I do a WordPress blog at this point. I'm actually switching it all over, but it's just regular WordPress, so it's professordaddio.wordpress.com, and you can kind of see where I'm at. It's all technology stuff, right. Technology stuff, but you can kind of get where I'm coming from.
All right, no doubt. Appreciate you.
No doubt.
Taking this time.
All right.
And keep doing what you're doing, man.
Thank you,
For
sir.
real.
Thank you.
give you great music and great ministry.
Spiritual minded.
That's a brand name. Like Pepsi, that's a brand name. I stand behind it. I guarantee it. They know that even if they don't know me any more than they know the chairman of General Mills.
I'ma give you great music and great ministry.
AJ Rock, let's get 'em.